Well, welcome in, everybody. It's real estate kitchen time. Cole Harvey here for Clint Wise, real estate partner. I got Compass, Cole Harvey Homes. You name it, we got all the stuff going on. It's super exciting. I'm telling you what. We're here, Clint. Talk to him. Tell him who you are.
Yeah, Clint Wise, team leader with Compass Wise Brantner Group, and thank you, Cole, for putting this together once again. I'm excited to be here, man, and just hang out for a little bit and talk about some ongoings with the county and St. Cloud and what's going on right now with growth, and then we'll discuss a little bit about interest rates and stuff too, and just overall real estate type stuff.
Yeah. Got my beautiful mother over here too, pouring up the coffee. Put it in the camera. Show it to the camera right over there.
Beautiful cup of coffee.
Wait, you gotta show it to the camera up here. Up a little bit more. Yeah. There we go. Look at that. Oh, delicious. Delicious. So my beautiful mother as well, real estate agent. Compass
Good
Wise.
morning. Yep, had to make my coffee. I'm Tina.
We were at the Osceola County Growth meeting yesterday.
Here's yours.
Me and my mom went out there. We're gonna get some coffee rolling in here. Thank you, Mother.
You're welcome.
Osceola County Growth meeting 2024. Lots of people. I think it's CCIN that puts it on. You got folks from around the county, cities. The city of Kissimmee was there. City of St. Cloud as well. Super informative as far as they just throw up graphics, and I might as well just kind of jump in straight to one of them to show you guys what they're doing over here. The first thing that is like ridiculous: Osceola County's population expected to grow by 55% by 2040. 55% growth.
You hear people talk about it all the time, like folks that have been here a long time, and I'm one of those. And there's probably a week that goes by that I don't have a conversation with somebody. But we moved down here around 2000, and we came from up around the Dr. Phillips area. My wife and I, right after we got married, we lived in a little Cracker Jack apartment up there, Dr. Phillips, so that all we could afford. So we wanted more house for our money. Wanted to get away from a lot of the traffic and stuff that we saw coming up there to that Sand Lake Road, Turkey Lake Road area.
Which has completely changed in the last 20
down.
years, man.
And so we moved down here to St. Cloud around 2000, and there was probably, I would be surprised if there was 20,000 people here. Mm-hmm. It was somewhere between 15 to 20,000, I think, somewhere around there. And Walmart was the big thing. Like everybody went to Walmart for everything, and we loved it. I mean, we're like, man, this is like another world down here. But you're still 35 minutes from downtown Orlando, And I remember us talking about it, my wife and I talking about it when we moved down here. That it's not. There's no way that this is going to stay like this. Yeah. There's too much opportunity down here. There's too much land for developers and builders to snatch up. And look what's happened. It's gone from somewhere in the 20,000 range to I think 87,000 people now in St. Cloud or something like that. I mean, it's just.
Well, I have a couple of years on you, and I moved to Florida in 1982.
Mm-hmm.
So when you got off the turnpike, right there was a Waffle House, which is now, I think Rodeo Diner is still there in that Waffle House building, and Kmart. Yeah. And that was it.
I remember playing on Michigan Avenue right here. We grew up in Canoe Creek Woods. It was one of the first houses that we had here on Tony Circle. Dirt road. Yeah. No golf course. Yeah. There was a pile of dirt back there, and we'd run out there and play. I mean, outrageous.
They need more sugar.
Outrageous to see it in that time, and then now we're going to continue to go. And now it's important to realize that that's not just talking residential growth.
No.
That's not just more people moving in. That is including commercial growth and all that as well, which comes to it. Now, what you're seeing on the screen right now is Sunbridge. You guys may have heard about this community. People talking about it. Some people are excited. There's signs up. But if you look on the left side of the screen, that's Narcoossee Road right there. And then towards the bottom of the screen is 192. And then where all these lines are, you can see Jack Brack Road right there, Jones Road heading towards the south. all that's going to be filled in. Now, Clint, look at this. I didn't even tell you this. Osceola Parkway is going to continue from where it's at now through BVL and all that, down past Lake Nona and into Sunbridge. So Osceola Parkway is going to have a southern extension nearly all the way to 192, all the way to Nova Road.
Wow.
Osceola Parkway is going to connect. And all in there, their main focus and what they kept saying, and you heard it over and over yesterday, was focus on kind of town centers. And not, if you drive down 192, you see a road and strip of commercial.
Yeah, and I think that's probably because they're trying to make it as accessible for people as they can to get their things they need for their daily life. Like, we live out, near between St. Cloud and Harmony, right, off of Melbourne Highway, and it's crazy. It takes like anywhere it's 30 minutes.
Yeah,
anywhere you go, it's like 30 minutes now.
Yeah,
unless I'm going to Publix right there at Narcoossee 192. That's maybe a 10 to 12 minute drive because you're not quite getting the traffic. But as soon as you cross over Narcoossee and heading into town in St. Cloud, anywhere you go now, it's 30-minute drive one way.
And that's been a huge addition for you guys living out that way, just to have that Publix and that recent commercial development there. But then the continuation of that is just.
But if they do these market centers, people can either they'll create little small golf cart districts, and people can just jump in a golf cart, go down to the local store or whatever, shops and dining and all that, or it's a very short drive, or maybe even a walk, down to get to somewhere and stuff. So they don't have to leave like their little pocket.
So they're planned mixed use districts.
Everything they're going to need is within a mile or so.
So look right there, Clint. So this one here, this is the planned mixed use district. Is essentially what they're wanting to do is build out the south side of Lake Tohopekalaga there, where it's basically across from the Kissimmee lakefront, where that's at now. Down south between Poinciana and St. Cloud on the south side, through the manor, all the way back over towards where we were talking about that connection is going to be on Nova Road and everything. So you can imagine how hard it is right now for people in Poinciana. A lot of you don't have to imagine because you live it.
Sure.
And you got to go there sometimes.
Right.
And we know how much that's going to help kind of connecting the whole thing down here. And they've built a lot of stuff out in Poinciana really recently. And if you go out there, you see newer commercial buildings and newer things and reasons that you don't have to.
It's so funny to me that, it's anytime anybody ever puts up any kind of graph like this or even makes mention of growth around here and stuff, on Rants and Raves, one of these Rants and Raves photos, it's always like, 2,000 comments about, stop coming here.
Right.
We don't want you, the growth is out of control and all that stuff. And I've always had a little bit of a different take on that, because we knew a couple of people that lived in St. Cloud and talked about how great it was and that small town life and all that, and everything that drew us here, right? It's like, why is it okay for me to come here? But then I'm going to say, okay, I'm the last one.
Right. Nobody else is
allowed to come here anymore and experience what we have here, right? And I think a lot of people, it's just a kind of a selfish mindset, and if anywhere that has those highly coveted, things like schools and, still somewhat affordable housing, right, compared to a lot of other areas and stuff, and more communities like Sunbridge that come in here and everything, that are going to create these town market centers and all this stuff, and Harmony and blah, 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 this goes on and on. It's like a place like that is going to grow. There's no way to get around that. So if you're looking for that small town life and the place that you moved to that once was small town life has now outgrown you, go look for another.
There's another one.
Right.
There
will be another one.
There is one somewhere else. So if that's what you really, really want, then just know that you're probably going to get maybe 10 to 15 years out of that one, and then you're going to have to move again and go find it again. So it's just, I don't know. I think a lot of people just kind of get into that selfish mindset of it's okay for me to come here and experience this and love it and live it, but nobody else can, because now you're the one that has caused it to be overgrown.
Right.
It's like, no, the people that were here in the 70s could say the same thing about you coming here in the 80s,
right,
the 90s.
And they were, I'm sure.
And they're saying, you're screwing up our small town life. We used to have we used to have 5,000 people in St. Cloud,
Right.
and now there's 10,000.
Yeah.
You caused that.
Hey,
Yeah.
if they had rants and raves in the 80s, imagine what that would look like. I mean, oh my gosh. I'm sure it would have been ridiculous.
Yeah.
And there'd still be people putting posts up.
Yeah, 100%. You'd see all the complaining since back then.
Yeah.
So
One of the things that I took away from yesterday, even with the development that they are planning, they're thinking ahead of, okay, where are these people going to work? And like you said, they don't want to live way out here and have to drive 45
Right.
minutes or fight all this traffic to get to work. So bringing more corporations in and industries in and planning for that land when they're looking at the development of all of this property that's south of us here, that is, one of the things that they're looking at is making sure that we have opportunity for other people to come in for employment.
Right.
Because
It's just
you don't,
growth.
yeah, it's great to live out here, but if you have to fight an hour and a half to get to work every day, you're not going to want to do that. And so that's one of the things that they're really considering for us. They said even, what was it? There's like 2,000 or 2,100 businesses that are registered in Osceola County or in St.
and
Cloud,
a huge
even,
amount of them
and like
are
a
home
third of them are home-based businesses.
since 2020. So everybody knows that. And a lot of times it doesn't matter where you live.
So it doesn't matter where you live.
You can have the same job and move 3,000 miles across the
Yeah,
country.
there was a
and-
huge shift in the amount of people that moved to home-based business and stuff. And a lot of folks that historically probably would have said, all right, I want to open up a business, and the first thing I got to do is go find me a commercial space.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of those people are just doing it from the house. They're converting a garage over to a little shipping, little shipping center. If they're doing online sales or stores, all this kind of stuff, they're just doing it out of their garage.
Well, and then some of those that the business grew, and if they did originally want that storefront space, they were talking about the revitalization of St. Cloud, and that a lot of those home-based businesses now have moved and trying to bring more of that to
that downtown monthly market. They contributed a lot of the newer businesses in the downtown area. They mentioned like 3 or 4 of them just off the top that had started at that monthly market as a small mom and pop boutique kind of shops, and slowly they worked their way into a store.
Yeah, the city has different grants and stuff too that you can apply for businesses downtown, Main Street.
The Chamber of Commerce.
The Main Street, St. Cloud Main Street Group, they have a grant that you can apply for to help out, with,
Yeah, they talked about that yesterday.
revitalization of your storefront or whatever.
They were even talking about that with some of the homes right around the city, and that a homeowner could apply for a grant.
Really?
And for painting or landscape or something to beautify their home. And they talked about the success of that. I know because I used to live right off the state streets. When I heard about that, I looked and I was just far enough off of the grid for it to be able to apply for that. But that's a great opportunity for some of those people that live down there.
Yeah, but it's all within certain areas. Yeah, because you can't live like in the south part of St. Cloud and have a home-based business and apply for that.
No, not at all. Yeah, but
it's got to be bringing people down there to that downtown epicenter.
Yeah,
is what the folks that qualify for.
Yeah, that's the goal, is to bring more people there.
What do you got there, Cole?
I was just thinking, one of the other things that I didn't mention when I was talking about Osceola Parkway being extended all the way down to Nova Road through Sunbridge, they're making something called the Sunbridge Parkway. I mentioned this to
That's what that
before
road
we
is
started
from
this.
192.
Look at the red road on the right side, running from north to south. It's going to run from Nova Road, it looks like down to 192, straight clear up to 528. And it's going to send you straight up to Orange County without having to go all the way through like you have. So it makes sense what they're doing, but there is going to be so much construction going on, and you guys are just going to have to kind of bear through some of that, because think about, Mom, what they were showing. I don't even think I have the graphic here of how many roads they were putting, or how many road projects they have as far as widening the roads. Hickory Tree was one of them. Look at this. Here's the trail network right now. the current trail network is.
Oh yeah, that was one thing that they talked about, making sure that we have enough trail space. And right now, what they say, we had like 6 miles.
Yeah, not nearly
like
enough.
18 miles or something along those lines.
So you'll be able to bike to work. There's going to be people that will be able to have safer places to bike. There's what the trail network is going to look like in 2 years. All the green. They're going to make a trail pretty much all the way around, nearly all the way around the lake. East Lake Topeka. All that up north of the Lake Clint, Boggy Creek area. All of that has exploded so much, and they're kind of focusing there. But here's a little bit of numbers. St. Cloud, obviously, by the numbers, as it says on the top. But look, there's just some like income numbers and stuff like that, and some employment things. And one thing I took away from this graphic was that St. Cloud is shaped like Africa.
When you look at it on the Osceola, big part of Osceola.
It looks like that's Africa. St. Cloud's kind of shaped like Africa, folks. So, all right. So yeah, that was major focus, I think, for today, was just how much, if you look at their built between Alligator Lake and Lake Gentry there on the south side of the lake, I mean, all that connected through. Another thing, what do they say about the Nova Road? I know a lot of you guys might, if you live in St. Cloud, might be curious to know when they're going to extend Nova Road to the Turnpike and all that. They're talking
Not Nova, Nolte.
Nolte. I kept saying Nova.
Yeah,
Nolte.
so
the whole interchange.
2027 or something.
They're not even going to start construction.
So we got some time on that. You got some time to wait. It's not coming tomorrow, but there's going to be a lot of things that look like they're going to happen between now and then.
And that's all in preparation for that huge community going in down there. Between St. Cloud and Point Siena.
And they were talking about that what's on the docket probably before they start construction on the actual interchange here is the widening of the turnpike throughout Osceola, which has been needed for a long time, especially from the Orange County line at 417 down. So that's going to be a good thing, but a lot of growth comes construction.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yep, you can see it all over the place. New construction houses popping up. Crazy.
I mean, I think those graphics that you guys saw in there, just looking at that kind of puts it into perspective just how much. Because everybody talks about growth, and you see it all the time, and how many neighborhoods have been going in, and new office buildings, and between the OUC campus too, right? They're building that right over here. When you look at that, let's look at it one more time. I mean, none of that is there right now. That's like doubling the size of St. Cloud. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Which means more fire department stations, police substations.
Huge deal. You're right.
All that type of stuff.
Because I think we only have like
trash
4.
service.
We're gonna need like 18.
Everything.
Yeah, so that'll happen, and hopefully they're able to pace it and do it good. But it was kind of funny. Mom, you were talking. The Kissimmee guy seemed a little jealous of the St. Cloud people for maybe for once. He definitely reminded, remember, Orlando and Kissimmee, we're the Twin Cities or something.
Oh.
But then St. Cloud comes up and talks about how much growth they have and all the projected stuff.
Well, because what was it? St. Cloud is the 7th fastest growing city in the nation.
Should have hit you guys with all those facts up front.
Yeah.
7th fastest in the nation. And what is Osceola County?
4th.
In the
Fourth
nation.
in the nation.
So that's wild. That's where we're at. And then we're not just talking, again, residential. We're talking about commercial and everything else.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I mean, they're talking about extending. If you guys know where Canoe Creek Woods is, they're going to take Creek Woods Drive. We're at dead ends right now, past the golf course in Michigan. It's going to continue on and connect to all the Southern Pines, and I have to imagine back through Gramercy Farms.
Yeah.
Which hopefully the plan is to build one of those kind of commercial centers, a couple restaurants, a couple small mom and pop shops, a little center where all these neighborhoods, Southern Pines, Canoe Creek Woods, Gramercy Farms, Hickory Grove, and there's even more apartment complexes popping up over on the other end, the west end of Gramercy Farms, to come to and to kind of have a place to bike in the evening and go instead of just going to the playground.
And I think too, I mean, something I personally would like to see is more shopping centers come in, like the St. Cloud Loop. We're calling the St. Cloud Loop up there.
Yep.
Where you have the large pet store and Hobby Lobby now they have
Marshalls and
some
Old Navy.
really decent restaurants right there out in front, and stuff. And to see something like that maybe come to the south side and then also to the east side, to kind of be those larger hub stations,
I
that.
think we might be good on tire stores for a while.
Yeah, that's enough.
Yeah.
Dentist.
That's
Let's do
always
something
a
different.
big
Dentist and
contention on all the rants and raves.
What do you think
pages.
about that? They put a dentist or a brake shop across right next to that new Starbucks over there, and it's the houses.
The only thing I can think of is that those companies are doing research. They have to do demographic research on whether or not there's a need for it. Now some companies will, and I actually put a post out not too long ago about that. That got quite a bit of response and people's different takes on it. But and it's something too that I hadn't thought much into, but it's true that a lot of companies, even if the need isn't there currently, they will go ahead and get their foot in that market share just because their competitor is there.
Yeah.
So even if there's not a need for it, they'll go ahead and erect a store and take a loss on that store's profitability for a few years until the market catches up with them, just so they're getting a foothold in that market share, in that local market share.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know if that's what's going on, is that, you've got Mr. Tire, over here that's seeing, discount putting all these stores in, and so they say, oh my goodness, we're losing the market share in that area, so we need to go in and put more, tire shops in there. But this new one, I can't remember the name of it, it's green, all the branding is all green and everything. They just put one out.
Mavis.
Mavis,
Mavis.
I just
So
can't.
they're currently building two of them.
Mm-hmm.
In St. Cloud.
In St. Cloud.
At the same time, yeah.
Yeah.
The one on Narcoossee just got done. It's open now for
Yep.
business. And they're doing one in the south end of town.
Right.
So they put two of them in at the same exact time.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's got to be something there
Yeah.
that shows it, because the amount of people here and the amount of cars, that there is somewhat of a need for more tire shops. I don't know.
What blows my mind though is how close I feel like the noise pollution. If I lived right there, you're going to be able to hear that going on all
They
day.
had drills.
100% all day. So it's like, I was surprised that they put it so close to houses. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? Like you said, they do research and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
That's
if you ask the
supposed to be
homeowners-
nice when that opens.
Yeah, let's go.
It would be really nice to see more larger, bigger box stores come in and everything, and
Yeah.
some more name brand
Target.
restaurants. and
Target,
stuff, too.
yeah.
Movie theater, cool
I
movie
know a lot of
theater. I love
folks
it.
in St. Cloud have been begging for Olive Garden for
Oh, yeah.
decades.
Yeah.
So I'm
A
just,
good Olive Garden,
waiting
yeah.
for Olive Garden to come down this way close enough.
Yeah.
Stuff like that people can not have to drive into Kissimmee, and go drive an hour, up to the loop to go experience.
So
some
how
of these
do
restaurants.
people? One of the things they talked about yesterday was the need for another hospital, here, especially in the St. Cloud area. And they were talking about searching for someone to build a hospital. Do you have any experience with how do they do that? How do they solicit that to say, hey, come to St. Cloud and build a hospital, you'll be busy?
I don't know, but I can tell you that Advent Health, since I think they bought out the Florida hospital
Yeah.
stuff, they're like the largest anywhere around here, so you can probably guarantee it's going to be an Advent Health if it does. But yeah, the trend lately has just been a lot of these emergency care centers.
Mm-hmm.
They just put a new one in south.
Not a lot.
Right.
Real close to the intersection of Narcoossee 192, there's
Yeah.
a brand new Advent Health emergency care, quick emergency care center.
Which I think we took your grandma there one night to the one off Park Settlement, and it was a good experience. It wasn't like your standard emergency room experience.
And I don't know if maybe they do those to test the waters
Mhm.
to see what
Maybe, yeah.
the usage and response and need is going to be, and then say, okay, now we've had 3 of those that have been successful, so let's go ahead and look at breaking ground on a major complex, a major hospital, kind of thing. But it's a good question. We'll have to see how they're going to handle the influx of all these people. So
If you want to build a hospital, call us. Figure out a way to get you some land.
Find some land. build a
Happy to
hospital,
help.
right?
I will dedicate my year to it. I will.
yeah.
But it's outrageous. It's fun. It's crazy. Let's see what else we have here that's fun. I mean, we showed all the graphics there. We'll show that one more time for you if you missed it. Check that out. That's ridiculous, all the growth coming. Clint, you made a little bit of a post yesterday about mortgage rates. Where are we at with mortgage rates right now?
Yeah, so what I wanted to talk about and share today, just to kind of, rebuttal on what I did yesterday on the post I put out. Yesterday I talked about the importance of staying ahead of the curve on interest rates, not waiting like everyone else seems to be, and trying to time interest rates, and I'm going to wait until they're back down in the high fours. Well, so is everybody else. So are the other millions of people out there that have put off home buying in the last couple of years because affordability has got out of reach for them. And what's going to happen when those rates come down back into the kind of that magic zone of low fives to high fours. All these folks are going to return to the market at the same time. You're going to have a tremendous amount of competition.
And then housing prices are going to
Housing prices are, what people are going to have to pay for houses
Right.
are going to go up. Yeah, for sure. Because they're going to have to be paying way over asking price again. It's going to be a repeat of that 2020, 2021 time frame where folks are paying way over. But what I wanted to talk about today, just briefly, was you may see graphs every once in a while about what interest rates do and stuff, and I think the importance of it is to not get caught up in the daily adjustment of market rates, right? So as you look at any graph, the smaller snapshot that you take of that graph, the more volatility it's going to show, right? So interest rates could jump, a quarter point within a few days or half a point within a few weeks or whatever. But if you look at an overall graph, of like say since October till now, it's been trending down. So the wider view that you take of that graph, now you can actually see a trend line. And you can see what it's doing. We've got one of those here that we can pull up, Cole. So that's a graph there from October to current, and you can clearly see that even though there has been upticks and downticks, and more recently it looks like it's ticking up, the overall trend from October is certainly down, right? And I think that's what's important, is that when people are making their plans, whether it's a month, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, don't get caught up in turning on the financial news every morning and seeing if your interest rate moved, a 16th of a point. It's not going to make that big of an impact in how much you're going to pay for that house. But if you wait too long, and this thing keeps trending down, and we're on a little bit of an uptick right now, but if it drops off that cliff and comes down into the low fives range and stuff, then this could be a completely different market that we're looking at compared to today.
I feel like that's something that people may not know, and I'm sure it's for obvious reasons. And if you're not in the real estate market, or you weren't shopping for a home in 2020 or 2021, when people were offering over, and you would have a meeting with a real estate agent, and there would be a great house that had an open house with 40 other families that ended up with 15 offers. And when you were having that conversation with the family in 2021, if you're trying to buy the house, you're being told, look, you really are going to have to come. If you want this house, you're going to be having to come, like, you bring everything you got and offer, in some cases, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 over list price for the right house. If it was that kind of home, and demanded that kind of
if you didn't experience that,
they don't understand.
You don't know.
People don't get it.
Or the clients that you and I had that, we had to put in an average of like 10 to 12
That's what I'm
offers
saying.
Before one even got accepted. And so it was just rejection after rejection.
You
after
can't
rejection.
blame the folks that don't know, and they want to continue to wait, and they say, hey, I know the rate, it's just ridiculous. The rates are 6%. I gotta wait till it's 4 or something like that. Like you said earlier, everybody else is doing the same thing. So it's just outrageous. I can't drive home enough how crazy it will get. It will get right back to that point, because the prices haven't fallen off a cliff from when they started rising. There's people that paid that $40,000 over asking in 2021, and they're able to clear $50,000 on their house today.
The only difference now is you have all this pent up demand, right? That all these tons and tons of folks that have just stayed put because they financially cannot sell their house and go take on this extra interest rate, because maybe right now they're locked into 3.5 or 4%. And even if they cashed out and they sold their house they have right now, and they go and put every penny of that equity into the next one, they're still paying an extra 20 to 30% more for the house, and the interest rate, right, is another 40 to 50% higher. So those two things combined, right, they're going from a payment of say $2,200 a month to $3,200 a month,
Right.
and that they can't take that on. So that's happened to millions of people, and they've all just kind of said, all right, well, we're just going to hang tight and wait for things to kind of come down and readjust. And I hope that people don't wait too long and get caught back up in that that feeding frenzy again, and then they won't be able to move again.
When you think about the stress and the frustration that adds to just the buying a home or looking for a property.
Sure, it's inherently stressful.
Right, and so then adding that extra pressure or thinking that you have to make a split decision, one of the things I always said, when emotions run high, there is no logic. And so it's hard for you to think logically when everybody is emotionally buying all the time. And
it's a lot of it too is because that pendulum swung so far to the extreme, which like Cole said, we could see again, it's very probable. But the pendulum swung so far to the extreme that it was super easy to sell your house.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like,
3 days.
Your house. I had some listings that we put on the market, and within 5 minutes of me putting it on MLS, I had offers in my inbox. Sight unseen.
Because they were at that point. Why was that happening?
$20,000 over, right? But then they turn around and those folks I was selling their house, they couldn't find anything because they couldn't get an offer accepted unless they were willing to go $40,000, $50,000 over asking price, or just something outrageous, and be really, really, really fight for to get a house and stuff. So then that creates a dilemma. It's very easy to sell my home, and it's going to sell like that, but now I can't find one. And so then people are like, well, if I can't find a house to buy, it's that tough to buy a house, then I'm not going to sell. So that gets puts in the
ideally it's some like a balanced market. Is that what like the ideal hope if you are trying to sell your house is that you're able to sell your house for a decent
I think we're in that now.
That's
I think we're in that balanced market right now.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the statistics show, that we really are balanced.
You couldn't have hit it on the head, I think, more by saying, it's one of the biggest purchases of most people's life, probably the biggest of most people's life, is buying their house. So just searching for it and knowing you're leaving your current home and things are going to change in that aspect and your kids are going to be in a new environment, that all is enough in itself. So then, like you said, when you add on all these other people that are here nipping at your heels and you start feeling that pressure of, I thought I found my house 3 times, put an offer in and we got beat out. We were over asking. We thought, then that's when you start feeling that extra added pressure of, oh my God, okay, it's been on the market for how many seconds? 30? Okay, offer. Like that, you don't want to have to be in that position. It's just too much. Now you can find a home, get into a spot if it makes sense for your family and the timing's right for you. Not everybody's the same. You can find that home and get $10,000.
Because we still have historically low inventory right now. So houses are still selling. They just may be taking a little bit longer because of the interest rate.
Right.
Which is coming down. It's coming
When you're asking people to pay a little more for something, they take a little bit more time, right, to make that decision. But that time is good, right? You don't want to be in that rush situation. So that's why I think right now we're experiencing that balanced market. The only thing that is a little hard for some folks to swallow is the rate still, right? Because they're coming off of the heels of something that we'll probably never see in our lifetime again, right? 2% interest rate, where money was almost free, right?
So talk about that for just a second. If someone said, okay, I found the house, I don't love the interest rate, but I love the house, and then 6 months, a year from now, the interest rates go down. What is a reasonable amount of time for somebody to refinance then and be able to not cost them? And it makes sense for them.
It really depends on two factors. How much has the equity increased in our house? Did you build in equity, right? So did you build in equity when you purchased by having a 20% or 30% payment? So you're already sitting on equity that you can use to refinance your house or roll closing costs and stuff into it. Because when you refinance, you still have closing costs. So equity is one.
Right.
2 is I tell people it's it's not really based on time. There's no really time constraint. It depends on what the market's doing and the Federal Reserve is doing with interest rates.
Mm-hmm.
But usually it's mostly worth it right around the time that you can save about a point on your interest rate. When you get to where you're at about a point difference, so if you bought in, it's 6.5, and now the interest rate is 5.5, and you've got the amount of equity that you need, because the loan to value ratio is going to be capped at 80-20.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to let you refinance unless you have at least 20% equity.
Right.
You could have built that in, like I said, when
Right.
you purchased, because you put down such a large amount. Or say you put down 5%, and now a year and a half has passed, and you've gained that other 15%. Right, so you're sitting at 20% equity, and the rate has dropped at least a point. I would say that's probably a good indicator that it's
So
worth,
you don't have to wait
you
10
to
years.
refinance.
You don't have to. You don't have to live
Oh,
with that
goodness, no.
for
No, when the market was ratcheting like it was there, and folks, a lot of folks trying to gain $100,000 of equity a year. There were people that bought, and 4 months later refinanced. Refinanced it because the rate, adjusted enough that they were able to make it worth it.
That's an awesome answer. I think that makes sense. If you have any questions about any of that stuff, we have a full team here that's going to be able to.
Yeah, and
your situation.
honestly, I'm not a mortgage lender. I'm not a loan processor.
But we know one.
We do know really.
We know a good one.
I know enough. I tell people I know enough about it to be dangerous.
Yeah.
But I know a fair amount about it just from the inner workings of working so closely with Eric Bastian. But yeah, if you guys want to get with a lender, hands down, we all recommend Eric Bastian with Guild Mortgage.
He knows his stuff.
Right up in Orlando, local guy's been in the mortgage industry for 24 years now. Teaches classes to other loan officers, so he's extremely knowledgeable and very non-pressuring.
Yeah.
We'll have a conversation with you without trying to pressure you into doing a credit application. If you just have questions, you're not quite ready, that kind of thing. Or if you are ready to go, then he'll do it as quickly and efficiently as possible because you're ready to purchase. So.
Yeah. And that's really the first step in anything, is just see it and just get your questions answered and everything. Yeah. So. And
talking with a professional.
Yeah.
Talking with somebody who really knows what they're doing and isn't just handing out a pre-approval, that isn't even worth the paper it's written on.
Right.
Yeah, because then you have to double back.
A lot of lenders that do that too.
You got to build a solid foundation before you go out. Because if you just get that piece of paper they just printed out and said, "Sure, here, go find a house," then you find a house, you think you're good and you're ready to go, and then actually, let me actually look into this, is what the bank says.
We'll talk about getting your hopes up.
Yeah, that's rough. So you want to make sure you're talking with somebody that's an expert and hopefully dedicated to mortgages only.
Right.
And there's some places that have spread their wings out over all kind of different things. So get a specialist, somebody that knows the programs and things. Get Eric Bastian.
There you go. I mean, one of the good things about Osceola County, going back to all this growth, we still have a reasonable cost of living. The house prices here are lower, being outside of the Orlando area.
No city tax. I saw that.
We've seen some wage adjustment.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people I've spoken to recently that have gotten raises, and stuff. I know that our city just finally approved the step plan for all of our officers, and so all of them finally got brought up to really decent pay, for this the Central Florida area and everything now. So
I mean, it's a great place to come to. You're looking for affordable housing, and there is still, I think, a little bit of small town here in certain areas of Osceola County.
Oh, 100%. You're right. I was thinking about that earlier when I used to work as a tax collector. I would tell people, St. Cloud, you drive 30 minutes one direction, you're in the middle of downtown Orlando, you have basketball games, professional sports, everything else. You drive 30 minutes the other direction, you're camping, fishing, lighting a fire. Sure. It's true. I mean, you talk about not having small town life anymore, you just don't know where to look. You don't know where to go. Because if you want to get away for the weekend, you drive that way, drive south for a little while, it doesn't take 10 minutes to just get out into the middle of nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's outrageous.
Yeah, I mean, St. Cloud certainly isn't Kenansville, but also Kenansville doesn't even have a grocery store. So it's like, those folks are having to drive, 45 minutes, 50 minutes to come up here to even go to a grocery store. So really, it just depends on what people are looking for.
What you're looking for.
When you compare St. Cloud to a major city, downtown city, metropolis, yeah, absolutely. This is a slower pace.
You can still find a little bit bigger piece of land here.
Yep.
As opposed to, and not be that far away from everything Cole just mentioned, which is a good thing. And we have the rodeo.
That's right. Coming up.
The rodeo, which if you didn't know and you're out of state and you're watching this from Idaho or something, maybe you guys have rodeo day in Idaho, I don't know. But here, President's Day, you better pack your stuff and get to school. But rodeo day, are you kidding? You better stay at home, wake up, sleep in, and get to the rodeo because the fair comes to town in Osceola County, and that is
it's a two week long thing. My daughter just showed an auction.
Yeah, how'd that go?
A hog. She did great, man. First year, and showing a market hog, and she had a backup hog as well that she found a buyer for. Glenn Harris with HBH.
There we go.
Purchased her backup hog, and
I didn't know a backup hog was a thing. I've lived in Osceola County my whole life. I've never heard backup.
Yeah, she had two. One that was her main show hog, and a backup.
1A and 1B.
But yeah, I mean, we know a lot of kids that are showing steers, lambs, all kinds of stuff. It's just a great thing for kids to learn responsibility of taking care of one of those livestock animals, and then going through all record keeping and bookkeeping on it, and it just teaches them an immense amount of responsibility, and the community comes together, which is really cool to see. And they go, and it's no big secret. Everybody's paying way over market price for hogs and steers and lambs and chickens and everything else. Even blueberry plants are crazy, outrageous prices if the kid's placed well, but that's not what it's about.
Right.
It's about helping the kids out and getting out there and showing the support that these kids have put all this hard work in for.
So I moved when
you got a steer show coming up.
Yeah, is
this
that tonight?
Weekend.
Is it this weekend?
The steer auction is this weekend. Yeah, Saturday. Yeah.
That's a big deal. It's a big deal. But
last weekend was hogs. So.
When I moved to Florida, way back in 1982, I came from the north, from Indiana. And the kids are like, "Are you going to show a steer? Are you going to do that?" And I'm like, "A what? I'm going to do what?" So that was 40 years ago, but it's still a very important part of here, of Osceola County.
Yeah, they take it serious.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, hey, if you guys need some real estate help, we're here for you. I got all of our contact all over this stuff. You can email us, and we all work on the same team. We're here to help. You get one of us, you get all of us. We're here. Again, on the mortgage
triple
side.
threat.
And then we got
quadruple.
And Eric there, and then we literally have everything that you need to be successful. And you can come in knowing nothing at all, and we will be able to easily and smoothly kind of set you up and tell you which direction you need to be running in and how fast you need to be running, where
we're all about the education. If you ever come across a loan officer or a real estate agent, for that matter, that says, don't worry about it, I've got it, and they kind of discourage you from asking questions and stuff, you need to run the other direction, because you should be informed. It's your money, it's your house that you're selling or buying, and our job is to keep you informed as much as possible, and for you to have somewhat of an education about real estate once you're done with your process. So.
And if you're out there and you think you found your real estate agent, averages you'll talk to about 8 of them, so 7 more before you finish. So we'll be here if you guys need anything and feel like you're spinning your wheels or you're not getting the absolute best service that you deserve. It's been fun.
Yeah.
Here drinking some coffee
out of mugs from around the world.
That's right. Look, let's all get into this camera over here.
I've got Alaska.
You got Alaska,
Alaska. What do I
got? Cayman. I got Cozumel.
Oh, you guys got the tropics.
Look at that.
Yeah, but Alaska's pretty cool.
I'm up here
telling you.
in the cold weather country. So.
That's all right.
It's been a blast. We're going to catch you guys on the next Real Estate Kitchen. County's growing, mortgage rates are trending downwards, and we're here to help you guys for everything that you might need. So we'll see you next time.
See you next time.